guys, and welcome back to this brand new video of the United States of America. This is going to be episode 9 of the United States, and today we are going to be dealing with the midterm elections. It is the month of October, and we are going to be playing until January of this coming year in this game. We're going to be playing up to the new year 2023. And in 2023, we have a couple of things that we are going to be watching for. I think, yeah, we do. The year 2023 is going to be pretty interesting in terms of space exploration. We actually have the Europa lander, which is going to launch from. We're going to try to see. Yeah, we're going to try to see if we can increase their budget to maybe about $25-30 billion. That way we can actually launch it a little bit earlier into the year, maybe around April, May. Probably around May is what it's probably going to look like if we're giving it that big of an increase. And then I believe that the Artemis mission should be taking place. Yes, it is taking place in 2023, and that is going to be the first time that man lands on the moon. So that is going to be in November of 2023. It's actually going to take place on Thanksgiving, or around Thanksgiving. So what we're going to be doing is that again, we are going to try to see. We also may need to start making plans for another space station. We actually do have the opportunity to make another space station in orbit, and we can actually partner with several other countries in order to do that. The Chinese, it looks like the Russians actually have it's a Nauka module laboratory, and then the Chinese actually have their own space station. Wow, look at that. That was a failure. That was a failure on the part of the Chinese. So that puts us at an advantage in terms of space exploration. Nearly $80 billion of Chinese money went to waste, and it failed on 9/23/2022. That was less than a month ago. That is shocking to say the least. So let's actually go ahead and do some budget increases for our space explorations. We have the Dragonfly, which is going to Titan. I think that's actually that's going to launch in 2026. Can we get it out there a little bit earlier? Yeah, it doesn't look like it. Maybe we can. Yeah, we're gonna have to give it some more money, and then we can probably try to get it there a couple years earlier. Our deficit is at a record low. It is at 0.77%, and that is, I mean, that basically means that our deficit and our debt, should be paying off basically every quarter, so long as we're not going on these like spending missions, like on nuclear power plants or anything very, very expensive. We also, I think I'm going to go over to construction. Speaking of, we are going to give we're going to try to give about $50 billion to solar plants. And then these are going to provide us with some more electricity in terms of renewable energy. This is a part of Biden's Green New Deal plan. We're going to be building these in South Texas. South Texas is very abundant in terms of solar power plants. We're also going to build about 2 of them in southern Florida. And let's do that. And let's go ahead and build $80 billion worth of nuclear power plants in Florida. All right, and that should be we shouldn't need to commence any more building projects. I think that's going to be it for us right now. Let's go ahead and check our debt tab, and we'll check that in a couple of days. We also need to start preparing for the federal election that is coming up. We have an election just about a month from now. And this is going to determine the composition of parliament. Now, at the time, we do have a very good advantage to ourselves. We have 100% approval rating, and we also, let me actually go to head of state. Let's go over to communication, and then let's go over to order a poll. And let's get a general consensus of what everyone is feeling like right now. That way we can know what to adjust and then know. Whoa, hang on. I'm not gonna declare a martial law as of yet. So let's go ahead and close that. I did not mean to click that. We also have another hurricane that is heading toward our coastline. So let's go ahead and prepare for that. Even if it looks like we already have a refugee camp. I put that refugee camp. Yeah, that is in Florida. Unoccupied has been unoccupied for 10 days, but it is ready. It is ready. Let's go ahead and go over to that census. Head of state. Look at the last poll. And we are going to get 51% of the vote if the election were to be held today. We also have 11% of the vote that would be going to the U.S. Green Coalition. That is a little bit more than average. But third parties are really starting to chew a lot off of the cake in terms of vote share, and the Republicans are just going to get decimated. I mean, if we're dealing with the Republican independent coalition, I mean, even then we're not really worrying about it because we could just coalition with the Green Coalition and that will help us. I mean, Democrats are very, very, very likely to win in terms of the Senate composition and House composition. Probably a lot of votes are going to be coming in from California, where they're going to be sending Green representatives to Congress, and that is the we have a 6.1% growth rates, and we need to. Oh my God!
The funeral will take place next week. Do you want to attend the ceremony?
All right, and we do see that the legislative elections have finally started, and we do see that. Let's hope that the votes are favorable to us. 26 days, and that the Democratic Union will have the majority of seats. That is still very likely to happen. Let's go over to head of state. Let's go to communication, and let's publicize a movement. And then let's go ahead and we are going to publicize the university movement on Monday. We are going to, that's going to be California. 54% of the vote intention in this election. So that means that we are very much set to get, a majority in both houses of Congress. It looks like the Republicans are going to get 25%. And then the United States Green Party Coalition is going to get 9% of the vote. That is, again, we can coalition with that party, and that would give us basically a supermajority in both houses of Congress. And then that we would, we basically would be proposing things that they would vote for unless they absolutely cannot support it. But so long as we have that majority and that we have more than 50% of the vote, then we would be able to pass whatever we want without having the coalition with the Greens. Let's go ahead and read this.
It is an honor for me to meet the cream of the crop of the upcoming generation who has graduated from university programs envied the world over. I would like you to know that you can count on my unwavering support.
All right, and let's go ahead and continue on. And I think we're going to be doing one or two more of those movements. Let's go ahead and go over to head of state, and let's go ahead and publicize the movement. And then this will be a tough neighborhood, and that's going to be in Georgia. Then we're gonna shoot to do that on a Friday. Friday morning, it looks like. And then we will do, we got a nuclear plant, we have an industrial park, do a business tech park. We're gonna do that, California. Then we're gonna do that on the 27th of October. Then we're gonna do one more. Let's do a research laboratory, and that's gonna be in, I think we're gonna shoot, yeah, we're gonna shoot for New York. New York. Actually, let's do Ohio. Let's do Ohio, and then we will do that on the 30th of October.
Social housing is and will remain a priority, as will the aids that will allow many families to regain a semblance of dignity in these difficult times. This is the message that I came to deliver here today.
Man, imagine if press conferences were that short. Kind of reminds me of the Trump administration whenever their press conferences were short as hell. Let's go ahead and go to the next day, and then we're just gonna go ahead and continue on with these. Let's also go to environment. We're gonna go to environment. We're gonna go to construction, and then we're gonna build. How much is this gonna cost if we want to do? Yeah, that's a lot. We're gonna do 5,000 of these. Oh, hang on. Yeah, okay. Let's do 2,000. I think that's a safe number. It's going to be $7.6 billion and then $36 billion in the next 5 years. Let's distribute over the territory. And then let's do 50,000 air filtration units. Let's not do that. Let's do 10,000. That's going to be about the same amount of money. So let's go ahead and go with that. Now we have a viable CO2 plant, and then once the CO2 emissions, wow, CO2 emissions, no wonder we've been getting a lot of disapproval, because CO2 emissions have been going up. That is very unfortunate. We actually get another achievement. I'm getting a couple of achievements here, haven't I? Yeah, we are on track to do global warming by about 6 degrees by the end of this. We have not had that much of a great environmental policy. That's actually one of the things that I probably haven't been doing as much as Biden has actually been doing it in real life. Told you this isn't really a replication of it. We actually also have another TV address. Let's go ahead and watch this.
How can we not be stimulated by the excitement that prevails here? All this R&D, technology, and innovation. Dear friends, you know how much I support you. You who have already crossed into the post-crisis territory. You must share with the rest of us what it is like.
All right, great speech by Mr. Biden. And we got another poll. 50% of the vote is going to be going to us. And again, as long as we get more than 50%, I mean, even if we get very close to 50%, I mean, we're basically set. But I think that also means that we would be losing seats in the House. Yeah, 54%. Anything over 50, anything less than 54%, I mean, we're going to be losing, but we're also going to be gaining in the Senate. So, I mean, this media coverage of power. Okay, so now people are starting to dislike the amount of so I guess it's about 3 or 4 TV addresses that people really hate within a short amount of time. I know the game even warns you about that. So that is unfortunate. Chimney Rock. It's actually outside of Scottsbluff. I have a couple of friends now that live in Scottsbluff, so shout out to Scottsbluff.
What germinates and flourishes in your experiments and in your brilliant mind is no doubt the essence of the genius of our great nation. You, who push each day the boundaries of knowledge, you are more than researchers. You are true finders.
All right, and that is the last TV address that we will do before the election. We have the election on November 8th, and then I think I'm going to go over... We're going to go over here. Yeah, let's go ahead and give some more money to environment. Do more to waste recycling, protection of the fauna, protection of flora, noise pollution, animal droppings. Let's do more for natural disasters. Let's do full funding to forest fires and nuclear threats, pollution, volcanic eruptions, and never really have mud flows. Maybe some more money for droughts just in case. Let's also give some more to earthquake preparation. Actually, yeah, cyclones and tidal waves. I think we're gonna actually do full funding over there. It's $30 billion that we're gonna be spending on this. I think we're gonna be doing a increase in something to pay for this. So we need to make up about $32 billion in tax revenue. So what I think we're gonna wait until after the election to try to make something up to pay for that. But what we are going to do is that we're going to go over to health and social security, and then we're going to give an additional star. Actually, let's do more medical staff. Let's go over to currency, see what our inflation's doing. It's now above. We actually did a very good job in keeping it below what we were at before, like at the beginning of the game. But now it is actually above. We are actually at 2% inflation now. That is going to be an issue that we need to start solving. Let's go ahead and increase the interest rate to about 2%. And then we're going to rehabilitate 400,000. All right, we're going to do 300,000 uninhabitable buildings in the United States. That should actually give us a little bit of approval. Interest rate increased. It is a risk of consumption. What I actually need to do once we're done is, and I think that's how we're going to be able to pay for it, is real recognition of hunters. Interesting protest. I've never seen that.
Hunters are currently marching through the streets of the city. Their organization has succeeded in mobilizing its troops, who are demonstrating together, forming a fine set of khaki, safari, and other camouflage outfits. Added to this, the yapping of dogs and the whistling of bird calls makes the atmosphere on the ground a real razzmatazz. Less fun, I'm receiving reports of many hunting rifles. The police cordon has been increased twofold as a precautionary measure.
Yeah, they have guns. I mean, it didn't even show me where that protest was. So what we need to do once this election is done and over with, I think we should be able to inaugurate our new Congress very soon. We need to increase the value-added tax. The value-add, and actually not even, we're going to hold off on the value-added tax. We are going to increase financial transaction tax. Financial transaction tax actually gives you a lot of money, and it also hinders economic growth, which is what we need to kind of fight right now, because we have a consistent 6.2% growth rate. But whenever we have a very high growth rate like that, our inflation starts to catch up with it. And once that inflation starts to catch up with it, you're starting to have rising prices. The higher your inflation goes and the longer it stays high, that's whenever you start to have issues with your prices and your economic growth. So we need to kind of like hinder the economic growth that we are seeing. And we also see that, let's go ahead and go back to that. Legislative elections begin tomorrow. 282 million people are called on to express their opinions through the ballot boxes. That is astronomically high turnout for a legislative election, for a midterm election. But for 2022, it wouldn't surprise me if it was that high. But we do have the election today, and we will see the elections the day after. Let's go ahead and go and see the election. All right. Independents stop at 11%. United States Green Party Coalition stops at 15%. The Republicans stop at 23%. So that gives us the rest. Looks like we are going to be losing seats in the House of Representatives. But we get 48, about 49% of the vote. That is amazing to see. So that is, I mean, that compiled with the 16% we're getting from the Green Party, that is a massive amount of seats that we are going to be able to play with. So that, I mean, in terms of just the political ramifications of it, I mean, that just shows that the two-party system is no longer working. But we do see that we're going to be able to work with this Congress. We are going to have about 16% more seats that we're going to be able to coalition with. So that is a win on our part. All right, and let's go ahead and look Parliament. What are we looking at now? We do see that 70 seats of the House of Representatives goes over to the Green Party Coalition, and 214 seats goes to the Democrats, to our party. And in the Senate, we do keep 51% of the seats. We get 51 seats in the Senate, but 16 seats of the Senate go to the Green Party Coalition, and then 12 seats goes over to the Independents, and 21 seats goes over to the Republicans. And then in the House, the Independents get 51 seats, and Republicans get 100 seats. So total decimation of the Republican Party in terms of political stature. Our armed forces have been attacked abroad. Russian units have attacked our armed forces in the Mediterranean region in Turkey. The Russians have attacked us. No way. The Russian Federation has now fired upon our military base in Turkey. 12 American servicemen have died. We have a couple of options. We're gonna hit them back. We are going to hit the Russians back. This is right after the midterm election. Immediately after the midterm election, the Russians have attacked our base in Turkey.
I suggest that you make an official speech and that you officially condemn these acts to the UN Security.
Yes, we will condemn those actions against the Russian Federation. Breakdown of diplomatic relations
Faced with the unacceptable attitude of this country.
Yes, we will break diplomatic relations with Russia. We need to put our troops on complete high alert. We also need to think about striking military positions in eastern Russia to deter them from striking against us. They do have a military base in Syria. They should. Where did that jet come from? Where did that jet come from? That is, I mean, that is beyond anything. We have an unprovoked attack. And Mitch McConnell, Nick McGollern, Republican president's funeral ceremony. This episode is just getting wilder and wilder the further it gets into the episode. This is crazy. This is amazing.
The funeral?
Let's go ahead and attend that ceremony. Armed forces have been attacked abroad. So we have acknowledged that, and we have taken action. So we will immediately. We need to immediately respond. We need to strike them back.
We are going to start firing on targets.
See, now that is going to be an unprovoked attack on our part if we strike them back. So what we are going to do is that we are going to we could do this. We could hit them again, but that's basically that is a hard choice. What are we going to do? Are we going to hit them back exactly where they struck us from? But that's going to start a war with Syria. We don't want to start another war just because someone else attacked us. We need to play our cards right. There's a missile heading. Where is that coming from? And what is going on? That missile just kind of like just flew all the way from Egypt and then just hit a tiny little base right here in northern Cyprus. It looks like the Egyptians want to push the Turks out of northern Cyprus. But we need to respond to this unprovoked attack on our servicemen. So we need to let's go ahead and take these guys. We will strike. We do have the call to ultimatum.
In the face of the attack of which we are all victims, I am officially notifying the Security Council and the member states of our ultimatum of 72 hours. After this deadline, we will attack all hostile armed forces that have not withdrawn. We will not be intimidated. We will not give in.
And great words from Mr. Biden against the Russian Federation, even though we already are responding against Russian military positions. I mean, this is an unprovoked attack by the Russians, and we do have a missile heading into Armenia. Hopefully this does not start another conflict with Armenia, but apparently the Turks would absolutely love to get involved against Armenia. And we do see a successful attack against the Russians. So let's go ahead and look at this conflict, see how many people were killed in that. One Russian was killed in that attack against that military base in Armenia. Looks like we actually hit a missile launcher, so that's interesting. We could also hit a strategic area in so we're gonna wait to see what the response to that was. Okay. Russian armed forces attack United States unit, risk of conflict escalating. Yeah, that is the risk that we are looking at right here. Major demonstrations unite the nation after Russian attack. Big gatherings have taken place in most of the major cities. The angry crowd have denounced the Russian government. Demonstrators have carried effigies of Valissi Salutin in the streets and trampled on them. What other news do we have? We have the death of Mitch McConnell right after the legislative elections. And then school hall controversies. Then do we have any more Security Council question by the United States? In a particularly powerful speech, the head of state, Tom Biden, condemned Russian aggression against the United States and called the entire international community to undertake its responsibilities regarding these abominable and pointless acts of war that must not remain unpunished. The Security Council should now rule quickly and judge if there is a need to issue a mandate to foreign forces to back up the United States. And due to the wishes of the United States and Russia have broken off diplomatic relations. Both embassies are now closed. Any more news on this? We do see that this is the Egyptian conflict, and then Russian government feels that the accusations made by the United States before the Security Council come close to pure slander. We have total proof that you guys attacked us. Do not deny that you guys attacked our base in Turkey. Now we have strucken back against them. Electricity shortage, unrest, and insecurity in the Channel Islands. Interesting. We have France. And what else do we have? Egyptian armed forces attack Turkish units and risk of the conflict escalating. again, we have already struck back against them. So national pages. Let's go back to the United States. And that seems to be the news for right now. The Secretary of Defense will get there maybe someday, exclaimed the Secretary of Agriculture. Man, I need to do another reshuffle. Reshuffle or something. We're going to monitor the situation in the Middle East. Yeah, for one, what we need to do, it looks like the Turks have actually put an anti-missile battery there. So that is great. That is great. Let's go ahead and move some anti-missile batteries to... I mean, not... Damn. We possibly need to move naval units into the area if needed. We can also start striking their bases in Crimea and southern Russia, right around here. Let's go ahead and move this military satellites to Crimea. And if we see that if we see anything start coming up, was that a Russian jet? If we see a Russian jet, we are going to shoot them down. We are giving the total authorization to... Looks like the Egyptians really want to get into a war with Turkey right now. That's please don't drag us into a war with Egypt. I don't want to go to war with them. We're already under attack by the Russians. So it looks like the conflict has now stalled. Proposed peace treaty. Give the order to withdraw your units. I am not going to withdraw. So we need to watch for any Russian military movements. And I'm going to go ahead and monitor the situation, and if anything else happens, I'll see you guys on the other side. All right, and it looks like that the conflict has come to an end. That is going to be something that we are going to keep an eye on. And we do have a proposal of resolution against Russia. Decided to proceed with your request for military intervention against Russia while proposing resolution 2397. The resolution will be subject to a vote next session. I want to point out that you still have the possibility of meeting with foreign heads of state and government, like the current members of the Security Council. And express my feelings. Resolution concerning Russia, we're going to vote pro. And let's go ahead and see. And it was rejected. Yes, it was. So we see 14 pro and 1 against. That is the beautiful thing about the United Nations Security Council, ruled by Micronesia. Interesting. I'm going to have to see who the head of the United Nations is. But that is a beautiful thing about the United Nations Security Council, is that one vote against by a permanent member. I mean, you even see China has their back on this. France, the United Kingdom, the United States, Estonia, Botswana, the Republic of the Ivory Coast, Nepal, Niger, Saint Vincent and the Grenadines, Tunisia, Chad. Yeah, that is a total Chad move right there. Bahrain, and Vietnam all voted pro, except one little guy right here, Mr. Putin, voted against the resolution. So that means it is failed. That was expected, even whenever we proposed the resolution. So again, that is unfortunate that they really need to turn down the heat on this conflict. They have killed 1,100 Turks in southern Cyprus, in northern Cyprus. I mean, the Egyptians just keep launching missile attacks against. What are they doing now?
The situation has stabilized. No incidents for more than a month.
All right, no incidents for more than a month, and the situation has stabilized. We do have the option to reopen diplomatic relations in the future, but once we are offered that by our Secretary of State, we are not going to take it up, because that is going to be a move. We're actually going to close diplomatic relations with the Russians for at least a year after this conflict had taken place. So that's going to be a very tense situation in the world as Europe and the United States and Russia prepare for a potential conflict with each other. And I know NATO would have our back. So if the Russians end up coming to us again and wanting to fight us, then we will drag Europe along with us, and they will very likely relations with Russia return to normal.
The situation has gone back to normal. I think we should restore diplomatic relations with this country. Do you want me to ask them if we can make a joint decision to reopen our respective embassies?
We're going to refuse that opportunity. Again, this is going to be a closed conflict. We are just going to refuse to open diplomatic relations with the Russians. Again, we are only going to open them whenever we see that they have been making potential strides in that regard. So we are again going to refuse the opportunity to open diplomatic relations with the Russians. We do end the year, so we are going to be ending this episode in the next few minutes. But we have a 6.27. So the economy grew by nearly 6%, nearly 6.5%. In 2021 or in 2022, and our GDP is now at $21.01 trillion. So that is great to see. We must remain cautious and measure the consequences of our economic stability over the long term. An unhealthy housing situation, but that is a little bit better in terms of the previous year. And then I think what we're gonna do, what we could do, what are we gonna do? No, actually, we're gonna wait. We're gonna wait until the next episode, and we're gonna get that deficit down. And then we're also gonna be dealing with our economic growth, because we should still have very high economic growth. That's actually around 3%. It's probably gonna shoot back up to about 5 to 6%. So that's what I really wanted to do, but then that conflict with Russia kind of distracted me from it. Go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Let's go ahead and get ourselves to 5,000 subscribers. Very, very soon. We're like about 300 subscribers away from 5,000. I never thought that I'd be that high in terms of subscriber count. So it's a very amazing thing to see. Let's go ahead and get those 300 followers onto this channel and following Politics Gaming. So again, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'll see you guys in the next video.